You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. Now the number one sports podcast network in the world. And today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase with the only Chris Level. I'm Casey Cowan. Chris, great to be back with you once again in the midst of a whirlwind, though one that is electrifying Texas Tech fans in all the right ways so far. Hope you have caught up on the action within this transfer portal party thus far, including a couple of conversations that we've had the opportunity to kick out, Chris, involving some big-time additions, both sides of the ball, Austin Romaine and Brendan Sorsby. Other names to catch up on today as we sit here midday on a Monday. So I want to get to some of those specifics, including additions, again, on both sides of the ball. We're talking pass catchers. We're talking defensive help, both in the secondary and up front. But first, I'd just like to ask you, how's Chris Level doing? No, I'm just kidding. Really, what's happening on the hottest stove of hot stoves as we meet again, Chris? And how you doing?
Yeah, man. I'm trying to get ready for a basketball game and trip and then all this football stuff, and it's just like it's coming faster than we can try to process. And nobody's worried about our feelings, right? It's just all happening on there's so people are aware there is like a rule in place where you can't actually like sign in person with on these portal visits. You've got to be removed for, and like leave and all that stuff. And so that's why this is kind of like a lot of these kids are the delayed announcement kind of thing from when they were here this past weekend. And it's all just hitting seemingly at once. What is, because I don't want to, and we may be able to circle back on a lot of these guys, but I mean, you're in on an offensive line, a guard now. You are still adding defensive linemen and edge players as we sit here and talk. I think that Trey White is now in the boat. I think Wendell Gregory will be in the boat, I think. And these are kind of the two, hand picks of the options that were out there. I am intrigued on Adam Trick, but I don't know what's there. But and then Bryce Butler, I was always indicated to. He was one of the top interior defensive linemen out there. And again, you're going to look at rankings lists and portal rankings lists and this and that. I just can't worry about all that because I just know their process and I know that their body of work, and I don't need to see anymore. There's some trust, just like Terrence Carter said. TC, we got you, man. We're busy trusting here. Davin Smith is a UTSA corner that I think will replace kind of Macho and Mo, and he obviously played for Joey's buddy Jeff Traylor in San Antonio. Started 8 games last year. Oh, by the way, Bryce Pollock, run it back, awesome. These are all Big 12 performer type guys that are saying, you know what, let's do this is the football defensive version of like JT Toppin saying, okay, I'm going to pass up. I'm going to come back. I mean, Bryce Pollock is one of the best corners that's ever played here. I don't mind saying that. He was exceptional and he was money all season long. And wants to give it a go for one more season. So hell yeah. But Davin Smith and will offer up some depth behind him and Amir Boyd. But yeah, Trey White, Wendell Gregory, Bryce Butler. You got the Akron DT. I'm probably missing plenty, but it's been a lot. We're drinking from a fire hose. But now let's take a page out of the head coach's book. What's next? Cowan, you you brought up the name of Cam Coleman a few days ago, late last week, when we were I kind of, this is a bit of a wish list, like would be the cherry on top kind of thing. I'm now prepared to tell you that kitchen sink, we're going to throw it. I think this is very realistic. I think, and he according to some is the number one player in the portal, regardless of position. This is one of the highest recruited players 2 years ago out of high school, the top 2 or 3 guys maybe. He's had a bad quarterback situation. I think that maybe Auburn had looked at Brendan Sorsby a year ago at this time, maybe. And so a friendship was built. I don't know how much, but I think you're in a much better position right now to give it a go with Cam Coleman than prior to the Sorsby announcement. And I will tell you that he will get the full court press. If he doesn't come here, it won't be because of anything. You've got a quarterback. I think that the offensive scheme that he would like to play in, tailor-made. We throw it down the field. In fact, we had 90 plays of 20 yards or more, Mr. Coleman, and finances won't be a problem here. I'll just say that. I've seen $2 million thrown around. I mean, whatever, man. I don't think that nobody here will bat an eye. So, I'm kind of surprised I'm telling you this, but I think Cam Coleman. I mean, I think you can kind of you feel like you're absolutely in that thing, and it makes my forehead kind of glisten a little bit just at the thought of it, because he's the freakiest of freaks, like in the best way. Can take over a game, highlight catches. I mean, all the things. So just think similar to like Jeremiah Smith, but probably has less production just because of the quarterback and the scheme that he's had to play in. But these are 2 true juniors that will be this next year and probably could be in line to be first rounders.
So just keeping on with that theme, following what's probably going to be a top 10er or something and David Bailey. I mean, what else would we expect, Chris? This is Lubbock, Texas, America, after all. The Coleman thing really interesting because I think where we last left off, at least on the show, you were kind of suggesting that it was basically a give us an ear. You're going to like what you have to hear. And yes, financial incentive will not be an obstacle, but just let us have an ear. That was pre-Sorsby publicly being known to be on his way to Lubbock. So that was one of the things I wanted to ask you, whether it was Coleman's name or others, or names or positions, whatever it might be. Kind of the Sorsby domino effect, I guess, or maybe some of the dust settling after Sorsby's announcement. This sort of in that wake, and maybe some more names to be considered also in that category, or are we seeing that type of ripple?
Great question. Great question, because you were linked to Amarian Miller, the former Colorado wideout, who's very highly thought of. It looks like he's going to end up at Arizona State, and this isn't necessarily a Cam Coleman or bust mission. I do think there's and I don't for different reasons, which maybe there's a story to tell down the line, or maybe there's not. We'll just let it play out organically, and then we'll circle back and try to do the best we can. For different reasons, you may be looking to take Cam Coleman and then one of the other. I mean, I think some of these other folks are very highly thought of as well. Eugene Wilson is an interesting one. Now, I don't know if that one is necessarily as much of a fit, just because you added the Jalen Jones from Alabama State. I think you've got Micah Hudson, and I think Jacoby Williams. So how much room is there to be a slot? If that's how they view him, maybe they just view him as a smaller outside guy. So, but the other the other options here, I think, are kind of inside-outside guys, and maybe that's the way they view Wilson too. So I guess I can include him in this category. But let's see, Terrell Anderson at NC State. I think that he's been linked to, shocker, Texas Tech and LSU. But maybe you got the quarterback and they didn't. I don't know. But he is somebody that I think is very. There's some folks that are very interested in him out there in the space. He's got a lot about his game that I think translates, and I think he's got some range. I think he's got some production. And then the other one is a guy that I'm sure Austin Romaine could get in touch with, and I know that there's been some background done on, and we saw him firsthand. He was easily Kansas State's best wideout, but that's Jace Brown. I'd heard some mixed reaction about him initially, but I think that I think he would be in play here too. And again, I don't want to say this is Cam Coleman and then nobody else. It may be.
First, today's episode brought to you by FanDuel, and football is in full force, and FanDuel's keeping you stocked with action every game day with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet only $5, and if your bet hits, you're getting $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. Any way you like it, FanDuel has you covered. Quick, easy, and secure every time. If you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Today's episode brought to you by Open Door Financial. And if you're a Red Raider balancing family and career, you've probably thought about your financial future, retirement, getting out of debt, leaving a legacy for your kids. But here's the thing, most financial advisors just trying to sell you something, hit a quota, or they only work with clients who have huge investment minimums, and that's not how it should be done. That's where Open Door Financial Advisors comes in, doing things differently. They were founded by a 2007 Texas Tech graduate right here in Lubbock, and they've spent over 15 years serving Red Raider families across the nation with one simple mission, helping you gain financial freedom and peace of mind, no matter where you're starting from. And Chris, you've got a long relationship with Open Door Financial Advisors, and that's the thing they really love doing most, being Red Raiders that help out Red Raiders.
Yeah, Derek Finley, man, he is one of us. He is a Texas Tech guy that really wants to help Texas Tech people, and it doesn't matter where you live either, because I think he's got clients from all over. But he is based in Lubbock, and it doesn't matter. But if you're trying to get out of debt, or you're trying to how do I get wealthy and secure my future by saving, he can handle anything in between, all of it. But yeah, check him out. But Derek's good people, and he's a Red Raider. He's been on this journey for many years as it relates to Texas Tech. So
he knows what you're going through.
Yes.
They work on a subscription-based fee-only model, which means they're never earning commissions on anything they're selling you. So there's no hidden agendas, no investment minimums, just straightforward advice. So whether, like Chris said, it's organizing investments, crushing debt, or building a legacy that goes beyond just money, they're ready to help families of all needs and resources, all while living by West Texas values, truth, and grit. So if you're ready to work toward your big horizon, visit Open Door FA. That's opendoorfa.com to connect with Open Door Financial Advisors. Honest guidance for Red Raider families who want to take care of what matters most.
This may go further. You may start looking at other options too, but I bet you take at least another outside receiver starter type. Let's put it that way. But because think about it. No Reggie, no Caleb. You've lost TJ West. You've lost a variety of those younger, some of those depth type pieces. So you can throw some numbers at this deal, and you just may be happening to do that with and so you've already got two in the boat. But I think at last check you'd lost like 5 or 6, either to graduation or transfer. So, and some of your pieces that you feel really good about, they're just really young. And so I think you're trying to add some experience to this group. So that's as good as I can do on that one. But yeah, Cam Coleman, Whew, yeah.
Well, and to me, that fits into that category of a position that just naturally, I think Red Raider fans have high on their list because of what we saw in the Orange Bowl, which was not a QB, offensive line, pass catcher. We need playmakers. And I know that from a pass catcher or QB standpoint, we're feeling very good about improving things there. And pass catcher still, we'll see how it works out. But the potential that Chris is outlining right there, very exciting. Offensive line, can I direct your attention there for just a moment? Because that's very high on the list as well. And I don't want to be just a total prisoner of recency bias, but we did just recently learn what it looks like and what it takes to compete in the college football playoff. And again, it's just that area where, yeah, you were improved from what you've been for a decade or so, but were you elite? No. And I want to say, Chris, that this is also a more interesting kind of category of position, because I'm curious to get your thought on some thought that it's really difficult to get quality offensive linemen out of the portal because quality offensive linemen don't traditionally get into the portal. There are some reasons where one might, but is that a misnomer or is there some truth to that? And do you have a feel yet on some of these early offensive line pursuits?
I think the group of 5, the best ones get in.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's where you see that you can mine some gold there, because they know that there's not a ton of these types, and they're not getting taken care of like they would be at the Power 4 level. Now, what you've got here is that this is a possibility that you take a guard. Okay, let's just go at it with that. The rumor is that you're going to be hosting very soon an East Carolina offensive lineman that has played guard. He's 6'6", 330. He played every snap for the Pirates. Some synergy there, by the way. At right guard this year, so he's a bigger player. He's a 1-year player. He's got 1 year left, and this is more push to start. Offer us up some insurance. In case Zambrano, has a setback. I think he's healthy now, but it just gives you some experience because we saw what it looked like against Oregon, and I think they really do like. And I feel like we say this often. I think they really do like Connor Carty, Daniel Sill, Deanthus Upshaw, Felix Ojo is going to come in here and feel like he can help right away. Holton Hendricks. I mean, I don't want to, Ellis Davis has had some injury issues, but I just don't know if they're ready to go, okay, all of you guys, we're going to turn it over to you now, and you're going to be all of our depth. Because I think right now, if you played a game tomorrow, Howard Sampson, Hunter Zambrano, Sheridan Wilson, Cash Cleveland, and then Jacob Ponton, you're good. Which I think was a lot of the pitch to Brennan Sorsby too. Not that he needed to be pitched necessarily, but you're good to go. But I think Zambrano's injury history, Cash Cleveland, not a ton of experience. There's some position flex there with Cleveland and Wilson on being able to play guard and center. But I think they would love another experienced body that could play one of the guard spots. Kind of like what Cleveland did for them this year, what maybe Scurry was thought to have been. They just kind of had it just in case, but maybe he's good enough to come in and play. This is a guy that started for East Carolina, a pretty good East Carolina team. He started all those positions at right guard this year. And so, and Cash has got multiple years left. And so, maybe he can still be that backup and all those kinds of things. So that's what I would tell you now. If it's not the East Carolina guy, maybe they look at somebody else. But that's kind of the thought process now. No guarantee that they take somebody, but this checks every box. Doesn't upset the rest of the guys. It's 1 year. It's and unlike maybe the QB insurance policy, you could bring this gentleman in here and if he started, great. If not, great. But see, this is also the position where you need more people, and you need to be protected there a bit. And I think they're trying to ensure that they're deep enough to get through a full season and maybe play more than 14 games this next year, unlike they did this year.
Chris, before we get out of here, I'll just admit to any newcomers, I am biased. I am prejudiced in favor of a great defense, always beating a great offense. That's what I would love to build first if you could. We know you're trying to imitate, replicate, or set an even higher standard than what you just came from this next season. And there are still some names to come. Very exciting, I'm sure, Chris. But so far, early returns, pretty good start, I'm going to say. Knocking on wood, trying to say it quietly so I don't go too wild. But how about it? You feeling all right?
Yeah, man.
In conference to boot on a couple.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know what this is going to look like when we're all said and done here. Okay, so it's as we're talking right now, you're putting some pieces together. I don't know what the final picture will look like, so I want to be careful there because this stuff is just changing too fast for us to get nailed down. But I think you've been able to put together most of what you preferred. We don't always get what we want, but in this case, they have, while operating with classification, position fit, financial thought, all that. But these are, Trey White and Wendell Gregory are, I think, like top 20. Well, Wendell Gregory certainly is, and he's got multiple years to go. I think Trey White. Did I mention the David Bailey comp earlier? The thing that or is that just to you off the air? I don't want to.
I don't even know. We hadn't even stopped talking for 24 hours, so I don't know what's been recorded, what's not.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I think there's the analytics would say, and a lot of the data would suggest that Trey White is a much better player at the same age compared to what David Bailey was at the same age. I think we would agree right now that David Bailey is a top 10 or 15 pick. And so you would hope that Trey White would end up on the same arc. But I think this was a player that they had their choice on some guys. And I think that this is a 2-time all-conference player that I think in his time and on the West Coast, he's had, 20 sacks or close to it. So, yeah, and keep in mind, everything we're talking about edge-wise.
First, today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly feel the call of the stadium. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. And with the money you save on tickets, you can then splurge on foods, drinks, gear, and more. Gametime makes it all possible. And best of all, Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get the first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. And if you're like me, you get tired of endless scrolling trying to find the best deal, and that's why Gametime's Zone Deals is the go-to move, since it automatically picks the best seats in your section for you at the best price. And as always, you can get a view from your seat right there in the app. So before you buy, you know exactly what you're going to see. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use our code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE. Locked on College for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed.
I don't know if you're going to get the equivalent of David Bailey and Romello Height. Okay, that may be far-fetched. It may never happen again. However, does say Wendell Gregory, Trey White, LaDamian Guyton, Amari Fleming, some others, like, does the collection equal the production? And I think maybe so. And I wouldn't say that they're necessarily done there yet either. I don't know. It's hard to. But yeah, you're and then in the interior, yeah, you're still adding. I think Bryce Butler is a grown man. 6'6", 315. I don't know if you're getting another Lee Hunter. I don't. But keep in mind, what you've got there is A.J. Holmes is next to everybody that's there. A.J. is a dude. Austin Romaine is a dude. John Curry is a dude. Ben Roberts is a dude. Bryce Pollock is a dude. You see where we're going? And so you're starting to, and again, maybe this is a bit of a deeper group. Maybe this isn't. And then Shieldwood coaches them. So yeah, we play defense in Lubbock, Texas. That's what Joey McGuire has tweeted out. That's what he's going to maintain. They're not looking to go backwards at all as it relates to their front seven or just defense in general. And I think they starting to put a little hay in the barn there. I kind of like it.
So
kind of like it.
Keep pitching, boys. Keep pitching. Yeah, and that's the point I wanted to leave with was what you were alluding to there. And I even was going to say just a little bit more specifically to the front. It was about a combination of really disruptive guys at multiple spots. And then you throw the linebackers, the quality they are behind them. But I think even with the talent of Bailey or Height or Lee Hunter, you just don't have the season individually without another one of those pieces, I think, because there's always kind of that bookend combo. I mean, I remember – I think Kevin Carter because of Javon Curse, and I remember Kevin Carter's contract because of Javon Curse. There's examples throughout time, and you like to see it spread all over. So it's nice to just get one on board, but again, angling toward being one of the most disruptive defenses in the nation when you can kind of stack these pieces and have them coming from all over. So early returns, very exciting defensively.
And this is how quick this stuff changes, because I was just mentioning to you Terrell Anderson as on a possible as an option at receiver. He has just committed to USC, and Cam Coleman was supposed to go visit USC after the Tech visit. I don't know. So we'll just kind of keep an eye on all the. I mean, maybe they would say, no, man, we're going to pair them up. All that. I don't know, but yeah, you're. It's just happening so fast, man. So as my phone says to me, USC knew it couldn't compete for Cam. Maybe not. So we'll hey, man. Get me that dude. I mean, just I don't ask for much. Well, we've been kind of greedy this year. We've asked for a lot, but we'll just keep asking. We'll keep asking. But back to your point, I'm enjoying the defensive additions. I don't think they're done. I don't know exactly where it stops. And then what is interesting is that as this goes, see, I think it was pretty clear indication that you had some success with your visits in town. This is why Chetta Ofili decides to go to the portal. I don't think that anybody should be excited about him leaving. I think that's one of the first ones that him and Valson were probably the only two to this point that you're like, damn. Because I think they could have – but I can't blame them either. And I don't know where they'll end up going because there's just not a ton of tape of them playing, right? I think Chetta would have clearly been in the picture at some point, although I don't know if you were ready to say, hey, Chetta, you're going to be one of these starters right now. I think that this is the problem, is that you've now graduated to this. No, we're going to compete for the Big 12 at the minimum now. Like now you're trying to push it further. And how many chances can you take with younger players? What if they don't have it? Remember Amir Washington a few years ago? And it's kind of like, dude, I mean, he's about to light it up. He tackled the Heisman Trophy winner in the backfield 3 times that day in Shreveport. And he just, he's a rotational guy and all that, but you just don't know what you've got. So I think they're trying to look at it and go, we need guarantees. Trey White's a guarantee. We think Wendell Gregory's a guarantee and all that stuff. You see what I mean? So
100%. I don't find it to be a problem at all. I was kind of laughing at all the reaction to some of these Red Raider departure names. And I'm thinking, you knew this guy's name before we just told you he was leaving? Some of you did because you're sick and twisted. Some of you like who, what, when, where, and that's the appropriate reaction because we're on the market with big bags still falling from the bell tower. Anybody check on our man? Run by if you haven't anytime recently. Southwest corner of Jones AT&T. Chris, thanks for a bit of time here to catch up, and we will be reconvening soon. I know for a portal conversation again, but I also know and want to put it on people's radars to be on the lookout for a combo, we got to have about a massive, huge, gigantic, enormous, I'm not exaggerating, basketball game in Houston, Texas. We decided to do the generous thing, give these boys another shot. That's the kind of folks we are here in West Texas. Didn't go well for them last time around. We'll run it back. Curious to see if they break out the gender reveal uniforms or not, but it is the Cougars of Houston getting the description of the next potential victim. So we're going to talk about it on an upcoming episode. Looking forward to it, man, and we'll see you then for that one.
Sounds good, man. Guns up, and we'll keep portaling. Again, head on a swivel, man. This is the time. I hope you practiced. Hope it's you got that WD-40 linked up and everything, so there's no squeaking going on because, it's going to continue for the next week and a half. It's not maybe at this pace, but it will continue. So, we'll talk next time.
Keep paddling. Keep your head above water. Don't lose sight of land. Too many ocean analogies for a son of the South Plains. That's my bad. For Chris, I'm Casey. Thanks to the Everydayers for always being out there. And hit our show notes if you're interested in being a Matador Mobster. Your direct line to Chris and myself with one-on-one text sent straight to your phone. A free 14-day trial is what you will find a link to there, again, in the show notes. Thanks as always for the time. We hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.